What is going on, my beautiful LARPers and LARPettes? I hope you enjoyed that intro there. It was a fun one for me to film, and I figured I'd give you guys something a little bit different by throwing a little bit of a Halloween vibe, since it is Halloween today. And if you did like it, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And if you didn't like it and thought it was too cringe, go ahead and leave a comment on how much you hate it down below. But let's get right into why we're here, right? The brand new spanking Sig Sauer P365 AXG Legion. I don't know why the name's got to be so long, but let's just call this the 365 Legion, right? Because I don't think there's ever been a Legion 365 before. But in this video, I'm going to give you guys all the details that you're getting in the 365 Legion and giving you guys some comparisons between the Legion and the X Macro with the compensator right here. I feel like this gun is going to be a very close comparison with the Legion, and I'm going to throw in a couple other parts and stuff like that later on in the video. But before I get into all that, what is my relationship with Sig? Now, Sig does send me out firearms for T&E. There's a certain amount of time that they give me for T&E-ing these guns. And if I choose at the end of the T&E period, if I want to buy it, I can. And if I don't, I could just send it back to them and just a good old handshake. Thank you for letting me borrow this gun and get some good content out for my viewers. But let's get right into the 365 Legion, guys. You get, in the box, you get 3 17-round magazines with the Legion base plate. This is a metal base plate, which is really nice that they're giving you 3 magazines as opposed to the X Macro here. I think you only get 1 magazine in the box. The top slide on this Legion is going to be basically identical to the X Macro with the compensator right there. So as you can see, there's really no difference on the two other than the iconic Sig Legion gray Cerakote that you're getting on this one here. But just to go over it really quick again, you're getting that integrated compensator integrated into that slide there, which is a really, really cool system. I was skeptical at first, like I mentioned in the X Macro video, and it works extremely well. And you do have a 3-point 3.1 inch barrel, I believe, on this here. And if I didn't already mention, this is chambered in 9mm. Let me double check that. Now, you're getting an RMSC cut on this one, and I have two different optics on here. You have a 507K with the ACSS, primary arms ACSS Vulcan on the Legion, and then you have a normal primary arms like cheap red dot on that one there. You get the same X-Ray 3, I believe is what these iron sights are called. They're day-night sights, and you do have these same exact serrations on the front and the rear of the slides on both of these. So again, literally the same exact slide as the X macro with the compensator. Now moving on down to the major difference on the Legion compared to other SIGs that are out there is the metal frame. Now this definitely adds to the performance of the X macro compensator slide, right? So if you're actually just looking at it and I were to swap the slides around, it's not going to be a difference, but I'm going to feel a difference from this frame just because it's adding some weight to it, some rigidity to it. I'm not getting a lot of that plastic flex. I mean, I'm not super scientific with this, but I could definitely feel that I'm able to get faster follow-up shots with the metal frame version compared to the plastic one here. And the weight difference isn't crazy where it's like, oh damn, I don't want to carry this because it's too heavy. You can feel that there's a couple ounces difference, and let me just give you guys a scale here so that way you can see what the difference is. And obviously the magazine, I'm just going to take it out so that way we take that factor out of it, because one of them does have a aluminum base plate on it. And with the Holosun is definitely going to be a little heavier than this one here. You can see that one's thinner, but it's not going to be a gigantic difference between the two optics. But other than that, we're comparing the sizes or the weights of the frames here. So let's start with the macro comp here. 1 pound, 2.6 ounces. Now let's try the Legion here. So as you can see there, it's definitely a difference between the weight on these two. You're getting kind of like a 4-ish ounce difference between the two, and you can definitely feel it in your hand when you're holding it. So that added weight is definitely going to add to the performance of this Legion here with that compensator combo. And to add to that, I did put a this slide on here. This is a Rival Arms with a Harrington Arms compensator on this. And you could definitely tell the difference from shooting the metal frame and putting that same setup there on the plastic frame. Now, I'm not sure how well you were able to tell between the two, but my personal experience was the metal frame definitely feels better than the plastic frame in terms of that perceived recoil, that felt recoil, right? Now, moving on to more details on this frame, you're getting a 1913 rail, which is literally exactly the same on the macro compensator. But if you move back here, you have a little roll pin that runs across from the left to the right or the right to the left. Not sure what that's for. That's the biggest thing that's boggling my mind right now on these two, is that this one doesn't have anything there. And when I pull them apart, let me cut really quick so YouTube doesn't flag this video. When we pull the slides off, you can see that on the X macro, there's a channel here, but that's integrated into the frame itself. But on the Legion, you can tell that there's like a whole piece there that's looks like it's set in there. I haven't messed with this. I'm intrigued on pulling out that pin and seeing if this is an actual like slot cutout where I can pull that piece out. Not sure why. I'm not an engineer for SIG. I'm not really a good reviewer, guys, but I'm just trying to give my best opinions here. But that piece does look like a replaceable piece, and from the looks of the spring going back and forth there, I can see like little maybe spring wear marks, but I don't know if it's ever been an issue on any other SIG. So If you guys know what that piece is for, I'd love to hear what it is, just because, again, I'm a little ignorant when it comes to certain little details like that. If it is something that can be swapped out, will somebody make a brass piece or a heavier piece that can be put in replacement of that piece there? So that way you're getting a little bit of that weight shift forward, right? It's going to help out with some of that recoil. So this gun is already smooth as hell, but adding some weight there and then going on to the grips. These are G10 grips, by the way, by I believe they're Hogue. You got that sweet ass Legion logo on there, but putting some brass grips, kind of like this 320 Legion here. These are by Lock grips and they look absolutely beautiful on this Legion here. But putting some brass grips onto this in conjunction with another weight there and a light on there, that's gonna be a pretty sick ass setup. Now moving on, looking at this little detail here, you have some little ridges or some cutouts right there on the frame. Pretty much just an index point for your thumb to sit on. I really don't feel that it's helping me out a lot in terms of driving that gun forward. There's no ledge on it. It's smooth. It's not really like super aggressive. So I feel, to me, it's more of an aesthetic type thing rather than a performance type thing. I wish there was maybe a little ledge there, or maybe something where I can add a ledge myself. But I mean, it's better than just having a plain nothing on there, right? Now moving on to the Legion's trigger guard, it's essentially the same shape as the X Macro here in the size and width and all that, but the biggest difference that you're going to get here is the checkering on the bottom of the trigger guard there, which helps out a lot when it comes to indexing your support hand on that there. Moving on back, this takedown lever is exactly the same as the Macro, but the biggest difference here is you're going to get an extended slide lock, slide release there. So that is very, very nice when I'm doing reloads. I'll throw in some video here. But I can get those reloads extremely fast now, and that I have no slippage issues on there or any of that. I did have a tiny bit of slippage issues when it came to the X Macro, just because it sits more flush onto that frame, but it's not a huge deal. It's just, again, easier to actuate now when I have that extension there. Moving on to the trigger, it's going to be pretty much the same trigger or FCU that you're getting in the Macro or other SIG guns with that flat face styling there. This is going to be one of my just downsides to this gun, is the fact that I was kind of expecting a different trigger on this gun. Just because other Legions that I have in my possession, the trigger is kind of what sets off, other than the details on the Legion, right? But the trigger is usually what I look forward to in the Legion versions. This one just has a skeletonized trigger shoe there. This one here, also skeletonized trigger shoe. On the 226 Legions and my 229 Legions, they have a, what is it, that short reach trigger, or they have a more tuned, better trigger than the other SIGs out there. So when it comes to the Legion series, I kind of expect the triggers to just be different, right? So with this one being the exact same as the Macros and those other SIGs out there, I was kind of like, ah, damn, like I wish they would have just changed the shoe a little bit, at least just the design. And I'm just being spoiled here, guys. Again, there's nothing wrong with this trigger. It's just me being a little pansy and butthurt about not just having a different trigger here, so. But moving on, you get the same exact magazine release here. I already talked about those sweet ass G10 grips. Hopefully they make some brass grips. Come on, Lock grips, I believe in you. You get a metal magwell, and you do have that classic Legion texturing there. It's the same texturing that you're getting on this 320 Legion and like the 226 Legion. So that's a really, really nice touch there. Super aggressive feeling. I did not have any slippage issues with that whatsoever. Even with all that fake blood and pumpkin guts on there, I still had a really, really solid grip on this gun. And the last thing, moving on up, you do have a beaver tail, very similar to the other Legion models, where it comes out to like a oval point back there. It like points out a little bit compared to like that flat styling that you're getting on the normal macro here. But basically that is it, guys. You're taking the X macro comp, you're putting a metal lower on it, and that's it. But I'm just downplaying it a little bit there, guys. But if you're actually gonna try to, say, mimic the Legion, right, and try to piece together one that's almost identical to this, right? So you're putting big money down on the grip module. So the grip modules, I think I've seen them from around like 375 to 4 something, depending on what company you want to go with. Like I think Icarus Precision and which one was another one? Mischief Machine, I think, was another one that I looked at really quick. So those two were coming right around the $400 mark-ish. So you take the X macro, because you're going to have to buy the X macro with the compensator, right? Complete like this. That's going to run you like around $700 or $800 or something like that. That's with the compensator. The non-compensated version is cheaper, but again, you're trying to build a clone of the Legion, right? So $700 or $800. $4-ish $100 for the grip module. Then you gotta get a magwell, right? Then you gotta get that extended slide release there. Then you got to put some G10 grips on whatever receiver you get, or if you get that Icarus one, I don't even think you need the grips on that one or the magwell on that one, but that's still a little bit more expensive than the Mischief Machine one. Yeah, so the color changed as well, but it's not really a big deal. But just from the grip module itself and the slide or the other gun, that's like around almost the 12 or 1300 price range already. You're really getting close to that price range. So those people that are complaining about the price of this here, you're just getting a more complete 365X macro comp with this Legion here. So it's up to you if you want to purchase one of these, but I think this is kind of fine-tuning everything that was on the X macro that I already fell in love with. This is one of my favorite carry guns that I have to date now. I love the way that compensator feels. I love the grip, love the capacity. Everything about it just hit the mark for me. And now they made it even better with a metal frame that's heavier, feels solid, shoots great. I'm able to swap out whatever parts and pieces I want on this, like this one here. I think it really looks cool. Let me swap it really quick. I mean, look at that. That two-tone look with that metal frame. That thing looks sick. But yeah, you're getting a much more complete X macro comp out of this guy. And I know Sig usually sells the parts and pieces to build your own if you wanted to. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with just the metal frame sometime soon. The issue is with these metal frames is usually on the websites that I have seen, they're pretty hard to get in stock, right? Or to find in stock, not to get in stock, but they're pretty hard to find usually, and they're pretty pricey, you know? So why not just go out and buy the complete gun and not have to worry about anything else other than probably putting some brass grips on there and just your optic and your sweet little flashlight that you want to put on here. Oh, there you go. And before I forget, I did bring out some holsters here. Don't have too many for the macro, but I brought out the Incog holster for the, this is for a Glock 19 with TLR 7. So those of you that have a Glock 19 with TLR 7 holster, this is what I used for the video, and it fits really nice in this holster. There's, again, you can see right there, not moving, and it's just a really nice fitting holster for this, to be honest. Just right here, it's kind of a button up against your knuckle there. But again, this isn't the holster for it, but in a pinch, you can use your Glock 19 with TLR 7 holster for this Romeo, what is this? Yeah, the Foxtrot light, not the Romeo, the Foxtrot light in conjunction with that, and it will fit with the TLR 7 sub on here as well. Now I have another holster here. This is a crossbreed holster with the leather backing and the Kydex front, and when I do put it in there, it does fit really nice. But when it comes to pulling that out, it is pretty stiff. So I would guess if you work that leather in a little bit more, it will be a lot smoother. But My theory is if you take a full Kydex wraparound holster, kind of like this one here, for the normal X macro and try to put your Legion in it, it's going to be a little bit more of a tight fit on that holster. I'm feeling like the width of this frame is just a tiny bit wider, where it's going to cause some hang up on the tightness of that holster that you're using. Again, good amount of features on the frame here that you're getting on this new Legion. Loving the direction that Sig is going. And for you guys that are wondering about the price or worrying about price, I don't think you're getting gypped by purchasing the Legion outright, because you are getting extra mags as well and getting some good features on this. So I'm wondering if they'll make a tungsten infused 365 frame, because I think that would be pretty nice, that good hybrid feeling with this Legion here. But anyways, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all. Love you all. Catch you in the next one.